pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We would typically swear in the newly elected or re-elected board members, but we did that on Monday, July 10th, in order for the two of them to receive the board agenda and contents prior to the meeting. I'd like to congratulate them on their election and welcome them to the HCS Board of Education. Welcome. Thank you. New business. 2.1 is video conferencing resolution. I need a motion to approve the resolution to authorize the Board of Education members to attend meetings by video conferencing under extraordinary circumstances for the Hamilton Central School District.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would like to open the floor for nominations for the office of president. Do I have a nomination for the president of the Board of Education?
I'd like to nominate Michelle Jacobson.
Any other nominations? Can I have a motion to nominate Michelle Jacobson as president of the Board of Education? All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to open the floor for nominations for the office of vice president. Do I?
Are we voting on
All in
that?
favor?
Oh, yes, we did.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
There's one.
Okay. I would like to open the floor for nominations for office of vice president. Do I have a nomination for vice president of the Board of Education?
I nominate Jen.
Okay. Any other nominations? Can I have a motion to nominate Jennifer Jones as vice president of the Board of Education?
I'll move.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we'll just swear in the president and the vice president, and then you can take over the meeting. I, Michelle Jacobson,
I, Michelle Jacobson,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of president
of the office of President
of the Board of
of
Education
the Board of Education
at the Hamilton Central School
of the Hamilton Central School
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I, Jennifer Jones,
I, Jennifer Jones,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of
the duties of the office of
Vice President
Vice
of
President
the Board of Education
of Board of Education
at the Hamilton Central School
at the Hamilton Central School
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. All right, well, thank you. I need a motion to appoint I need a motion to approve the appointment of Jody Chantel as district clerk from July 1st through June 30th, 2024, as recommended by the superintendent.
I'll move. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. need a motion to approve the appointment of the business manager and the superintendent as clerk pro tem in the absence of the district clerk.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the appointment of Deborah Welsh as the district treasurer and to authorize a bonding of $275,000 as recommended by the superintendent.
Move.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the appointment of Deborah Welsh as treasurer of the extracurricular accounts as recommended by the superintendent. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. I need a motion to approve the appointment of Heather Thomas and Mark Arquette, comptroller of the extracurricular accounts as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. We need to have a quick discussion about the audit committee. The audit committee can be of the board as a whole, or it can be a subcommittee. So in the past, Hamilton Central, in the short-term past, I'm not sure way back, but has always been, the board as a whole. So if, I'm wondering what we would like for this coming year.
I think it's worked out good in the past as a whole.
Corey?
Yeah, I don't see any need to change that right now.
Amanda?
Yeah, it's worked in the past.
That's a good as well.
Okay. Then I need a motion to establish the audit committee as the whole board. Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the appointment of Debbie Curley as tax collector from July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, and to authorize a bonding of $275,000 as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to designate William Dowson, superintendent of schools, as the tax levying body and shall designate that such delegation of authority is applicable only where the recommendation refund or credit is $2,500 or less.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to designate Matthew Crum, business manager, as law enforcement unit and chief emergency officer as recommended by the superintendent. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. I need a motion to designate Christopher Rogers as the district-wide, Kevin Ellis, Mark Arquette, and Heather Thomas as the building-wide DASSA coordinators.
Move.
Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to establish a petty cash fund in the amount of $100 to be administered by Debbie Welsh as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to establish a petty cash fund in the amount of $75 to be administered by Andrea Cash as recommended by the business manager and superintendent.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. I need a motion to designate Deborah Welsh, treasurer, as the official signer of the district checks, and in her absence, William Dowson, superintendent of schools.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? I need a motion to authorize William Daslin, Superintendent of Schools, and Matthew Crum, Business Manager, to make transfers within and between major budget categories.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? I need a motion to approve Matthew Crum, Business Manager, as the 403B liaison. I have to read the rationale. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve Matthew Crum, Business Manager, as the purchasing agent recommended by the superintendent. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. I need a motion to approve the appointment of Shannon Newkirk as claims auditor and to authorize a bonding of $275,000 as recommended by the superintendent. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to appoint the law firm of Farrar and Forenza as school attorneys as recommended by the superintendent. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I need a motion to appoint the Community Memorial Hospital for School Physician Services as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to designate the Observer Dispatch as the official newspaper for the school district as recommended by the superintendent. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to recommend that reimbursement for mileage for 2023-2024 for the use of a personal vehicle shall be the IRS rate per mile. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to designate NBT Bank, Community Bank, or HSBC, as the depository for the school funds as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
If I go to tax to the vote, you guys have a discussion?
Okay.
I wait for a second. I need a motion to limit the maximum amount of a wire transfer at $1 million.
Second.
Any discussion? I always feel like I need to do it like this. All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to appoint William Daslin, Superintendent of Schools, as the Freedom of Information Officer. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to appoint Mike Burkett, Heather Thomas, and/or Matthew Crum as the Title IX, Section 504 ABA compliance officer.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to appoint the Director of Facilities as the asbestos designee as recommended by the superintendent. Any discussion? All those,
Do we have a director of facilities now?
Yes, Randy.
Oh, okay.
yes, just his name didn't get it.
I was,
Like
that's why I was
everybody
like,
else's
did
name.
something happen? I just wanted to make sure.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to appoint Christopher Rogers, Director of Technology, as the district's Data Privacy and Protection Officer as recommended by the superintendent. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I Need a motion to appoint Matthew Crum, business manager, and Jody Chantel, district clerk, as records access officers as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to appoint William Dowson, superintendent of schools, as the records management appeals officer.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to appoint Heather Figuera, Heather Thomas, and Margaret Kett as attendance officers.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to appoint Matthew Crum as the borrowing and investment officer.
I thought one, I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. I need a motion to appoint Kevin Ellis as a liaison for the homeless children and youth.
Second.
Any discussion? I feel like there should be another word after that. All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to appoint Schwinnard as the district auditor.
Second.
Any discussion? Oh, the other one's already, I never said this right. All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the appointment of Kevin Ellis and Jared Dart as CSE, CPSE, and 504 co-chairs for the 2023-2024 school year as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? I need a motion to appoint William Dowson, superintendent of schools, and Matthew Crum, business manager, as members of the Madison Oneida Health Plan Consortium.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to approve the certified substitute teacher rate of $105 per day, uncertified teacher, $100 per day, and for all retired teachers, a per diem rate of $110, substitute teacher aides, $14.20 per hour, with the subsequent change to minimum wage, if any.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion to authorize William Dowson, superintendent of schools, to approve staff conferences and expenses and to apply for grants, state and federal.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to re-adopt the Hamilton Central School Board of Education policies in effect during the 2022-2023 school year. Any discussion? All those in favor? I need a motion to re-adopt the Hamilton Central School Board of Education annual required policies that were in effect during the 2022-2023 school year. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. I need a motion to authorize the following employees to use cell phones issued under the district paid service agreement. Superintendent of schools, business manager, secretary and elementary principal, director of PPS, and sub-service.
Second.
Any discussion?
What is self-service?
So that is Laura Russin serves as our coordinator of substitutes.
Oh, okay.
So she requires a cell phone to get calls in the morning.
Okay, thank you. Good question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the secondary and elementary student code of conduct as recommended by the district, or the director of PPS, secondary and elementary principals.
Second.
Any discussion?
Are these the revised, did they get them all done, or are these the
No,
ones?
no, this is our existing code of conduct. We worked through the policy committee on revised code of conduct.
Great, thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Informational. The following school board meeting dates for the 2023-2024 school year have been approved and are on, or were approved on June 13th, 2023. There's that. Discussion. Committees with board members' participation, and who's going to serve on what committees.
Thank you for adding
Yeah, much better this way than we've done in the past. So, what we'll do is I'll just read through the headings of them, and we can talk about who wants to be on them, and then we can go back and go through them. So there's the steering committees. We've got the secondary steering committee, and we have the elementary steering committee. Is there anybody interested in either one of those?
I'm interested in elementary. So, I'm not before.
Corey, can you hear that?
Yep.
Okay. Corey, you were on secondary last year, was that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you'd like to stay on, or would you like somebody else to take a shot?
Yeah, maybe someone else, depending on if there's other committees that I would need to be part of.
Anybody else want to be on it? I'm happy to join it. I haven't been on that one.
There's others.
Do that one too, but I don't know what's involved, but I'm middle schooler.
Anybody have, I'm
I don't know if you can be
different.
on both.
I don't see why you couldn't be. Maybe just change the date.
Or are they usually on the same day?
I don't think they are.
I think they are.
Okay.
So we're gonna double Amanda there.
That's just my mistake.
If after we go through them, we want to
Okay.
re-talk, we totally can.
Okay.
So as we go through, if somebody says, wait a minute, I want to go back to that one again.
Sure.
The policy subcommittee.
I think Amanda again.
Yeah, I'll do that too.
She'll do all of them. Anybody want to be on that committee?
I'd like to.
I've been on it, I'm happy to stay on it, that's me, if there's no one else.
Okay.
Usually there's two of us, so.
Usually there's two.
Sun spoke up as well. You're
Yeah.
interested in that as well?
Yes.
Is everybody okay with that? That's a point. Inclusivity committee.
So Bill had asked if I'd be willing to serve on this, I would be, but also would prefer if anybody else does.
Is it just one person working usually?
Yeah, the policy states one board member.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with that before?
So I'm willing, but if anybody else wants, I would,
Corey, if you don't want to be on that, I would be interested.
I'm good either way, but if that's something you want to do, I would say, please. Go ahead.
So you're either way, one of you would be on policy and you have two things.
So for this and others, it would be an observer role.
You participate.
Participate.
You can't make any decisions of the board, but you participate in meetings as a member, and then you bring back information to the board to fill us in as to what happened and such.
And the meetings are.
So could we maybe put a pin on this again, and discuss it at our board retreat? Like, what is our role, especially on the steering committees and the inclusivity committee, what role Bill wants us as board members to play? I think it's a discussion that might be worth having. a little more depth.
So we select our committees and then discuss the actual roles we play once we have that meeting.
Yeah, just what the boundaries are, because
Okay.
I don't think that, make sure we're not overstepping it down. so.
No, I like that idea.
I like that, Cory.
Great suggestion. And the meetings will be long, right?
Once a month.
I'd be happy
Okay, We'll write some down for now, and then you guys can duke it out later, if so needed. School Board Institute, there's been two.
I can continue to do this, I usually make all of them.
Okay. Anybody else want to join Jen? I think I was on last year with Jen, but I did absolutely nothing, because thankfully Jen did absolutely everything. So I'm happy to join her, but know that I'll likely slap on it. I will try to this year, but
If there's a committee.
I'd be happy to do this on a weekend.
Yeah, you would.
If Amanda wanted to do this, and I would take the secondary. I'd be fine with it.
You, you probably know this committee more, I mean, is that something that?
Typically, it's just if I can't make a meeting, it would be a backup. It's held in New Hartford at the Herkimer Madison Oneida BOCES. It's representative, they're trying to grow the School Board Institute, they're trying to get superintendents more involved this year. So it's with the people that you did like your training with,
Yeah.
that's through School Board Institute.
Okay.
could
So-
2 people go though to every meeting?
We probably could, it's not typical, literally they usually like have just enough chairs around like this little circle thing in the room. But, I mean, I could talk to Jen Van Wormer, and I'm sure we'd have somebody else to come on.
Change thoughts on who wants to be on there?
I'd be here.
Okay. And then the advocacy liaison.
I'm happy to continue doing that as well. Unless, I mean, Cory, is that something that you're interested in? I know you've done some stuff with me in the past too.
I am, but you've really done such a good job of that.
You don't want us to on that like 7-hour meeting?
Well, I feel like it would take like a lot to get up to speed with what you already know, so. I defer to you, if it helps take off your plate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine doing it again, but I maybe have like backup. Trying to get a little bit more involved this year, maybe attend like the lobby day and things like this. Could do this
Yeah,
team.
I'll help you, maybe I'll officially help you with that.
That's
Or we'll put 2 on there. I don't think we can't have 2, can we on that one? That one's not a.
No, it's fine.
that one- Okay, so we will go backwards and start motions for these. If everybody feels good along with the discussion for this. Everybody have a good fun?
I just want to make sure, Cory, you don't want to do secondary steering. I just stepped in and you had said that you were going to step away. So
I'm happy to do that, or either that or the school board, I just don't want to put too much on you.
Okay.
So whichever one you'd rather do, if you'd rather do the secondary.
Start out with the school board and, or you want to start out with which one?
Is that maintenance?
Might be better to have
The
before we
split
do secondary student.
We're talking about splitting up the steering teams.
I would just say the steering team is probably more work, so the school board institute would probably be less for you on that, especially.
Okay.
But if you want to switch that up, even whenever.
No, I'll consider it next year. But yes, I'll plan to take the school board.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I need a motion to appoint Amanda as the Board of Education representative to the elementary steering team, and Cory as the representative to the secondary steering team. Please.
Have fun, take some. I'll second.
Any additional discussion? Thank you both for doing that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to appoint William Dowsland, superintendent of schools, and Corey and Son to the policy subcommittee.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. I need a motion to appoint William Desmond, superintendent of schools, and Son to the recommended list of individuals to the inclusivity committee. Oh, and the recommended list, sorry, I said that wrong. And the recommended list of individuals to the inclusivity committee.
Second.
Any additional discussion?
There may be additions to that list as the year progresses as well.
Okay, good. All those in favor? Aye. I need a motion to appoint Jen and Amanda as co-representatives to the School Board Institute. Corey moved, one of them moved, one of them seconded. That's what Corey heard it. All those in favor? Aye. I need a motion to appoint Jen and Corey as the co-representatives as the School Board of Education representative to the NISBA advocacy liaison. All those in favor? And I'm remaining this year on the BOCES board as a representative from our district. I need a motion to adjourn the organizational meeting. All those in favor? Aye. If anybody needs to stretch, we can, but we're going to move right into the next meeting. Keep the stream going and to keep things going. Jody, I don't have to do the pledge again. We already did it. Is there any reason, before we get started, that we can't continue right away since the meeting? So on here it says 6:30, but it was posted at 6, right? Okay, never mind. So we're good. All right, I would like to call the July 11th Board of Education regular meeting to order. It is 6:03. We will start with any additions to the agenda.
There are two additions. Addition of 3.6, the 2023-24 tax levy, and 6.6, non-resident tuition rate.
I don't see that on here. Is it 6.6 or 7.6? We move things around.
It's 7.
7.6, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
7.6.
That's okay.
You're good.
Great, we can add those. We also did change a few of the item orders. Everything on Board Docs is up to date. So if you're following along, you'll be in the most up-to-date copy that is. I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Any additional discussion? All those in favor? I need a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting on June 12th and the regular meeting on June 13th. Any discussion on those minutes? All those in favor? Aye. The consent agenda is next. I need a motion to approve the following consent agenda. It takes us from 3.1 to 4.1 as recommended by the superintendent. Any discussion on consent agenda items?
I would like Matt to just explain where we are with the tax levy.
Sure. First and foremost, the reason for this being a late addition to the agenda, we are at the mercy of the state of New York and the Office of Real Property for equalization rates to be finalized.
for all the municipalities that are within the school district, so that just happened yesterday. So Deb Curley was working on this last night to get this ready for the meeting. A couple of things I want to point out, and we could spend days on this, which I would love to do.
You would. You're allowed.
Yes.
We won't. But just a couple of things to point out. These are sort of, trends that have emerged that are starting to really repeat themselves, and it's concerning to us. And it really ties into the larger issue of our declining enrollment, affordable housing in the community, and some of the contributing factors are evident in this report. If you look at the equalization rates, and basically what the equalization rate means is that's what the Office of Real Property of New York State is saying the assessments of that municipality are reflective of their true value. So Brookfield, the state assessor, or the Office of the State is saying that in Brookfield, the total assessment of the property in Brookfield is 69% of its true value. Last year it was 81%. Eaton dropped from 95 to 82. Lebanon dropped from 95 to 82. And Madison dropped from 65.5 to 59%. Now what that means is those are the communities that have not done a reassessment in recent years. And this is the pendulum effect of the reassessment in the town of Hamilton. So with properties continuing to turn over at a quick rate and turning over at higher than market value, this is the impact it has on the rest of the tax base. So the total assessed value for the district went up 1.22%, so that's new assessments. But the true value of property went up 6.85%. So you can see that effect of, that's all market driven. So with our levy increase of 4%, when you look at the bottom of the percent change and how that's distributed, and we always talk about this in the spring, a 4% levy increase does not mean tax bills are going to go up 4%. It could be a wide range of increases, and in this case, this year, we're going to see some decreases. So you'll notice the dollar change column on the assessed value in each municipality is a little bit over $2 in 4 of the 5, and it's actually negative in Hamilton. So what that means is if you're a property owner in the town of Hamilton and your assessment didn't change from last year, your tax bill is actually going to go down a little bit. So the other 4 municipalities are carrying the weight of that 4% increase. So with certainty, I can tell you Bill's going to get calls, I'm going to get calls, you're going to see people in the community in Brookfield, Eaton, Lebanon, and Madison and say, how come my taxes went up 12%? And again, it's all things that are not controllable by the district. These are things that are market driven and based on calculations at the state level. So something I just wanted to point out and know that it's going to come up in the fall. Any questions on that? If I can answer it briefly here, I will. If not, we can, like I said, this is something we can spend a lot of time on either individually or as a group. So just want to point a couple things out.
It's crazy the difference on those equalization rates. Thank you, Matt, for
Sure.
explaining.
And then 4.1, the HTA MOA, just to clarify, that's the agreement between the district and the Teachers Association to allow Renee Merck to continue as a teacher on special assignment in her role as coordinator of SEL.
Any other discussion items on the consent agenda? All those in favor? Brings us to our first community participation. Please remember the policy that we have and come to the podium here in the front if you would like to speak. There's nothing written on the side.
Good evening. I'm Travis Haynes, a parent, longtime attendee of your meetings, and town of Madison resident. I have a lot to say, so forgive me for my cadence and condensed words. Know that I appreciate your work and dedication to the district. I know firsthand just how thankless your job is. Though I'm frustrated with recent events and actions, I won't come here behaving like a petulant child. I do, however, have a short list of things for you to consider as you conduct your business. Like, why, when you promote the importance of outside input, did you just stray away from community members on your policy committee? It, after all, is an advisory committee. I'm baffled, and I hope you reconsider this. Know that when you're talking to someone, that you never know who they know or who around you may be listening or watching. This school district, this community, has long been divided, but the rhetoric of these past few months has been unfortunate, to say the least. The people you spoke to and people around you have reported back, and the cheap shots and slanderous accusations have only further divided this community. I'll note to you and others that this community, this district, extends well beyond the village lines. Perhaps take a tour of the district, embrace its diversity, don't disparage it. I also will note that it is now established that your personal lives are open for public criticism. So in the spirit of what's good for the goose is good for the gander, I and members of our community will be sure to keep our eyes open. Be aware that the shared decision-making plan clearly states that a diversity of people and thoughts must be embraced. Also note the opening statement of the DEI policy. Know that a large part of our community doesn't feel equal. They feel that their voice doesn't matter. And to a large degree, these people aren't wrong. So when someone says that they feel like they're being treated as a less than, don't snicker or disparage them. Don't cherry pick how you use and apply the word inclusive. Last year, I knowingly put myself in the figurative firing range by being a vocal supporter of improving the middle and high school schedules. That was met with select internal childish behavior, which allowed me to understand where some of the students learned how to bully their peers. Take note and address that behavior while you're at it. I encourage you to continue to improve upon these schedules that fail your students in various ways, schedules that are undeniably inequitable to the students compared to their peers at other schools, schedules that are clearly inequitable compared to your other school on campus. So now that you have your DEI policy, use it. Don't throw around the word equity, apply it, even knowing it will cause you internal political complication that may affect you in May. SRO, SPO. I ask you to put any personal politics or possible political endorsement obligations aside and do what the community and staff overwhelmingly supported last year, an armed officer in the school to add to the district safety plan. Don't gamble on the lives of my family, the students, and the community. And note the undeniable liabilities not doing so puts the district in. And ask what they are if you're unaware. To transparency and communication, something to evolve campaign from. Allow me to give you your roadmap. Policy 2047, sections 2A and 2B. Comply with your policy. It states that all committees of the board must abide by the provisions of open meeting law. This would include not just the policy and inclusivity committee, but also committees such as steering committees and the reevaluation of books committee. Note that the shared decision-making plan confirms this for the steering committees. Also remember that your upcoming board workshop retreat, where you will set district goals, is required to be a meeting in public. For example of what this transparency would look like, look to our neighbors in Cazenovia. I also suggest you as a board conduct a training workshop on open meeting law. I remind you to schedule and promote your annual How to Become a Board Member booth at the Fall Open House. In the spirit of transparency, I suggest you continue to promote Section 2A3 of Policy 8304. In that application, clearly state exactly what that policy states between the lines. As you look at policies to revise or adopt, I suggest you look at the highly flawed absentee ballots policy. I ask you to find a way to address electioneering in policy. I ask you to find a way to address in policy what to do if someone ever files a false instrument. I ask you to find a way to help ensure that only eligible voters are allowed to cast a vote. I ask you to have a discussion about ways within education law to provide equity in campaign expenditures to ensure that the biggest pockets don't get insured the loudest voice. I end with suggesting that you speak with any applicable non-tax-paying entities that may or may not donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to perhaps suggest to their staff to not send demanding emails to you from their work accounts if by chance that is taking place, hypothetically speaking. Perhaps tell such entity a little story about one of our neighboring schools and their past experience with financial intimidation. I'll end with thank you for your time, I thank you for your service, Also, to the administration team and the vast majority of the staff, please know my comments are in no way targeted at you, and I respect and appreciate all your hard work and dedication more than you may know. And again, thank you for your time.
Any other comments at this time? For non-online, if anybody online would like to have comments, please post them and we will get to you in the next public participation. That brings us to information and correspondence, which is one of the pieces that we moved around in the agenda. So superintendent report is next.
Sure. I'm happy to report that we received 5 student applications for our student ex officio board member. So that's exciting. So we will bring forth a recommendation next month for their service to begin in September. I participated in the New York State Education Department's DEI Leaders Network on June 22nd. I'm happy to report that the Board of Regents has developed a DEI resource repository where schools throughout New York State can put in all resources for DEI policies, for best practices, for roadmaps, for the culturally responsive framework. It's an opportunity for schools to share what they're doing, and I think it's a great thing. I think it'll be very useful for districts moving forward, and I'm excited about that. It's all in an effort to support our ongoing efforts to advance DEI throughout our districts.
Did they talk about the organization of that at all? Is it going to be like just a place where everybody throws stuff, or is it going to be like organized?
No, it's going to be organized and vetted. They're using an outside resource to kind of facilitate that. The state ed department doesn't have the capacity to facilitate it, so they've contracted with a third party to kind of
I should want it to be like this pitfall of everything so that it's not useful. So,
Yeah.
great.
Yep. The administrative team and I met with Rebecca Kopp from the MOBOC's Staff and Curriculum Development. She is going to facilitate our work through the culturally responsive framework and the new framework for gender conforming students. So our next meeting is the 20th of August. So we're excited about that and to move through those frameworks and come up with an action plan that best serves the district and any students within the district. Lastly, it was mentioned last month that the secondary steering committee has had discussions about limiting cell phone use within the district. Mark and Chris are going to reconvene members of the secondary steering team and continue that discussion on what is our best course of action. Is our current policy, should we tweak it? Should we make revisions to that?
It's not a policy.
It's not a policy, it's part of the student handbook. Part of the discussion is, should we develop a policy that best serves the district around cell phone use? So Mark and Chris have done a lot of work. There's a committee that is meeting outside of the district, I think on Thursday, to explore that and come with suggestions to the district on what they think the district should be doing. So we'll listen, we'll make decisions and make recommendations for a plan that works well within the district for all. Any
Any questions
questions,
for Bill?
comments?
Corey, do you have anything for Bill? Okay. Knowledge sharing, Jen shared something with us.
Yeah, so it was July's advocacy liaison documentation. If you have any questions on that, we will, I do ask before the next meeting if everyone could read through the resolutions. If we want to propose any resolutions, they did give a list of like some suggestions. We haven't really done anything in the past. We can partner with other districts. And basically what that is NISBA, it basically guides NISBA's advocacy efforts for the upcoming year and what they'll focus on and what they won't.
Those resolutions are due before.
Yeah, so if you have anything, email me. Yeah. We'll have to do a special meeting to talk about it or something if we want to put something together.
And then the next two topics are for all of us to discuss. We need to discuss the board workshop so that we can set the district goals for the year, and possibly do some training at the same time. So we need to all pull out our calendars. The first important piece of that is a date. Corey, I guess I'm just gonna start with the date, how's that? We'll go from there.
Yeah, for me, as long as it's in, after August 1st would be.
So,
We're gonna try to do like a weekday during the day again. Perfect, yeah, that's.
so the 8th, the 16th, the 17th,
I can't do
The
that.
8th work for me, no,
okay,
16th.
okay. Amanda can't do the 8th.
Any day the week of the 1st, 7th, or the 14th or 15th, those days. So those other first 2 weeks, any of those times. So the 1st through the 15th. Yeah,
And you're gonna do the 15th? Or the 1st?
I can do the first or the 15th.
And we would do probably 9 to 4, 9 to 3.
I would ask if the earlier in August we could go would be better, because then it would give us more time as an administrative team to plan before the opening of school.
Oh, wait, hold on. Tuesdays are hard for me in the morning unless we can start till 11. Sorry.
How about the 2nd?
Do the second.
Corey has a 2nd look.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll book the 2nd, August. We'll do 9 to 3-ish. And then as Bill and I will work with Jody and kind of figure out what a template of the day would look like, run it by you guys, and then we'll adjust the time if needed as we post it. So that will be the day, we'll find a location, maybe we'll just stay here. We have the space now, and we'll see what we want to include in that day.
Could also use the media center. That's a great idea.
So book the 2nd. We could. And then the board convention, I don't have this. NYSBA does a convention in October. In the past, we've tried to get as many board members as possible to go to them, except for when they're in New York City. And we say that because it's more expensive for all of us to go to New York City. Obviously, if somebody, when it is in New York, wants to go, they could, but we don't try to push for 6 of us to go, because Bill goes as well.
It's October 26th, 27th, and 28th.
So we're wondering thoughts on that, if everybody can make all 3 days, if that would be a problem, your thoughts. There's sessions, what we've done before, so last year was in Syracuse, we went up, those of us that could go, went up, we all looked at the sessions, we tried to split up as much as we could to cover as many sessions as we could. Obviously, there were a handful that we said, oh, multiple of us wanted to go to, which is fine. Whatever is of interest and whatever we think is most interesting to bring back to the school. So that's kind of how we worked it in the past. If you can't go, that's okay. But again, we have encouraged all of us to go in the past, and think it's beneficial to do that. Again, it's not mandatory, but any of these stuff. So thoughts on whether you think you might be able to go, or is it something we'd like to reconvene on? Jody would need to register, find housing, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
We can only go the 27th and 28th. I can make it like the evening of the 26th.
I
Okay.
can go all 3 days.
You can go all 3 days. We'll help too.
And I think,
Bill, are you going?
Yes.
Figure it out. And then make it work. Joe, before you look, you just, I just have to check with things. That's, we'll be at the end of the weekend. So I don't know. I just here, make sure I can get out of that. Because I'd like to go. Great. So we'll mark those on your calendars, and then we'll get some more information and details to everybody in there. Anything else for board discussions? At the moment? If not, we're going to move into the new business. Again, one of the things that we moved was the safety patrol officer discussion. So the idea is, the reason for the discussion is the contract ended on June 30th. That we had gone into contract with the county, and if we would like to continue to look for somebody to be in the building, we need to re-sign a contract, so we would need to do that before we look. Right now, we do think that there's a potential person that could be interviewed. We've not looked into anything about that person because we are in a contract, so we didn't want to move that direction. If we would like, so we just need to decide what direction we want to go to this year and move from there. So I'll turn the conversation over. Thoughts?
Well, I'll just say, I don't, in my, as I listen to our last discussion about change, I haven't seen any other evidence or research that has explained what I think would be the best for the kids in our district. I think there's some concerns I have about the effects safety resource officers have on students of color, students of lower socioeconomic status, and so I would continue to suggest that we do not enter into a contract with SRO and we explore other options for the people in our school state without having a full-time SRO involved.
I am in favor of entering into the contract. I think that we've seen a lot of positive and success from people that I've talked to in area districts. I think for the price, to be able to have another confidant at the school, another resource for our kids, another familiar face, starting at a young age, I think that it's much needed, especially in today's day and age. And I feel the other way that, you know, things are happening and they're happening much closer to home, and I feel much better knowing that we have this person in the school.
I'm not in favor of the SPO or an SRO. I agree with what Corey said, but just to add to that, just looking across the country, it's happening in schools with Black and brown students, students with disabilities. I think we have an opportunity to pursue other options. And also, just listening to voices here in this community, families with experiences with SROs, SPOs, and they're telling us, you know, this is going to impact them on a daily basis.
I think it's worth entering into a contract. I think that, again, what we get for the money is a lot. If we look at other options, the options that I've heard of, we don't get as much for the amount, or we have to budget for it and extend our budgetary in order to have somebody full-time in the building. I think an SRO, what we went through with the contract before is we're allowed to train them. If we were to hire a different entity, are we allowed to train them in anything we want them to? I'm not sure we can. I'm not sure that that would be part of the deal that we would make for $21,000. I think because it's a year-to-year contract with a 30-day out clause throughout the year, so at any point through the year we could get out of the contract. I think it's something that we should consider still. Find a person to come into the building to see how it is, to assess it on a regular basis and figure out what that assessment's gonna be, so that we assess ourselves, that the staff assesses, possibly the teachers assess students in a couple questions every couple weeks to see how they're feeling about it, in smaller settings, so that we have an idea of how people are feeling. And if there's negative, then we work to correct it, obviously. But we also have that clause that lets us out. I think that it could bring some benefit to the school, just as the position that Renee Merck has been in. We saw a lot of positivity with her position this past year. And I'd like to give this a try as we gave that a try. Again, because I know that there's a chance that if something doesn't go right, we can correct it, if we're on top of it, and that we can get out if we need to. I think anything that we can do to help our children is something that we should consider. And this is something that we can do, and that's why I think we should consider it.
I think that the allocation of the money that we would spend on the SRO would probably, I'm looking for things that are more evidence-based. I haven't seen a lot of evidence in positive outcomes with an SRO. I'm not inclined to renew the contract for that reason. I think that the potential to do harm much outweighs the positives, especially for students, like someone was indicating in Corey, that are black, brown, have disabilities. I just think that we need to look at what evidence points to as the most effective ways to spend money to secure our schools. And I think that Hamilton has done a lot in that vein. I think that, with Renee's position, we've got a school counselor now. I think that building an atmosphere in the school and kind of doing harder work to foster a community where, and Hamilton has done a lot of work toward that those things do have tangible results that we can take from other schools. So that's what I'm talking about.
So at this time, we are not in contract. From this discussion, I don't know that we need to move to an action to vote on a contract because we're in one at the moment. If we would like to bring this back up in the next meeting, we could, but at some point we do that to make sure that we're moving on so that we're using our resources, looking into these types of things wisely. So if this is something that's going to bring up in next month, we can.
Can we, if this isn't the option, can you guys come up with a list of like what are options within those same allocations and what are other avenues that we can explore that will give the same results? Can we do that and add it to the agenda this month?
So we will have this on the next agenda, move it as a discussion item there, and we'll go from there.
So the alternatives to the SPO position?
I think we can still talk about the SBO at the same, as an option of one of like, these are the options, SBO, X, Y, Z. But I think at that point we'll know what's on the table and we can decide which direction we want to go to that.
I think we need to take action in a direction towards something. Like this has now been a year of just talking, and it's time to actually take action on this. and move forward with it. And we need to be able to create our own assessment and what's going to work for us here in Hamilton.
So I will reach out to the county and tell them that we will not renew the contract.
It still could be a discussion, it's part of the discussion for next month, we're not renewing it. I think when you will lay out all options, that it should be part of that. Maybe when we see option 2, 3, and 4, option 1 looks like it is an option we decide to choose. Maybe we decide to choose none of them. But I do, if we're going to discuss this next time, I think this should still be on the table. Is everybody okay with that plan? So that brings us to 7.2.
Is Corey staying with us? or-
Sorry.
Nope, you're right.
Yeah,
Corey?
why not, so.
Corey's going to jump off. Thank you for joining us, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Corey. Enjoy the rest of your vacation.
I
I
work,
think I,
Look at that. We'll just stay at that. Chris is I was hoping it did.
It was enough in a second.
Okay. I need a motion to approve or a one-year leave of absence for Renee Merck as the elementary teacher as effective September 1st, 2023 through June 30, 2024, as recommended by the elementary principal and superintendent.
Second.
Any discussion? It would be an executive session. so, nothing speaking. All those in favor? I need a motion to approve Renee Merck as teacher on special assignment as coordinator of social emotional learning and family engagement effective September 1, 2023 through June 30, 2024, as recommended by the elementary principal and superintendent.
Move.
Discussion will be an executive session. All those in favor? Need a motion to approve the appointment of Cindy Went as a probationary school nurse effective July 12th through July 2023 through July 11th, 2024, as recommended by the superintendent. This appointment would be pending fingerprint clearance. Discussion will be an executive session. All those in favor? I need a motion to approve the appointment of Sarah Wayland Smith as probationary one-year elementary teacher effective September 1, 2023 through June 30, 2024, as recommended by the elementary principal and superintendent. Discussion would be an executive session. All those in favor? I need a motion to revise the appointment of Jennifer Inman as probationary office assistant 2 to a permanent civil service appointment effective July 24th, as recommended by the secondary principal and superintendent.
Second.
Discussion would be an executive session. All those in favor? I need a motion to approve the part-time positions as approved for the 2023-2024 school year, as provided, sorry. for the 2023-2024. Discussion would be an executive session. All those in favor? I need a motion to approve the following coordinators for the 2023-2024 school year as recommended by the principals and superintendent. And they're listed.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? I need a motion to approve the recommendation of committees in special education and preschool special education. Discussion would be an executive session. All those in favor? Discussion item. The district's emergency response plan for 2023-2024 school year. We need to review it and discuss it, and then it will be on as an action item in August.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
So
as required by New York State with the SAFE Act, we have to have a district-wide emergency plan that's made available for public comment for a period of 30 days. So by being on the agenda tonight, this opens a 30-day comment period, public comment period, and then it's approved at the August meeting. You'll notice looking at this, it's very bare bones. It's a template. As the district plan should be. For obvious reasons, we don't publish detailed and information and specific protocols regarding our building level plan. So there is one addition to this. There's a remote learning component that's required, so that was added as an appendix in the back. Once the district level plan is approved in August, the principals and I and Bill as a team, we work on our building level emergency plans, which are submitted to the state by October 15th. And those are very specific with names, locations, very specific directives for different situations. And those obviously are shared publicly. So that's why this is a template working document that serves the purposes of the district-wide plan. So if there's no public comment or anything that comes forward in the next 30 days, you'll see the same document on the agenda for action in August.
Thank you.
Matt, do we want to state how they can go about getting comment, if anyone has comment on it?
Sure. They can email me, they can submit to Bill, to the board, just email, it's probably best.
Okay. Great. Any other discussion? I need a motion to surplus excess equipment deemed unusable and to discard what cannot be put through public sale as recommended by the business manager and superintendent, and that's what is listed.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
7.6 was the non-resident tuition. I need a motion to approve the 2023-2024 non-resident tuition rate at $6,440. Discussion?
And just to clarify, that's for existing non-resident students. The policy committee and the board approved that we no longer accept out-of-resident students. So this tuition rate is set for those existing students.
Thank you for answering my question before I ask.
You're welcome.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're at public comments. Please remember the policy and come to the podium if you have anything. I do not see any online.
Here's Brenton Sullivan, father of 2 elementary students. Thank you very much. I just wanted to follow up on the discussion regarding the SRO or SPO. I especially appreciated your comments about evidence-based decision-making on this. But I also wanted to add that last year, when this was discussed last, there was a lot of input from the community about how if there were to be an SRO, I think it's best not because of the evidence out there. But if there were to be an SRO, there are models out there for how an SRO could be best incorporated into this particular community. And Superintendent Dowsett, I saw your message in January that the county rejected the revisions you suggested to that contract. And so I think that leaves us in a really awkward position because there was several members of the community that acquiesced and understood that there's other members of the community that wanted an SRO and yet suggested, I think, really sensible ways that they could, again, best be incorporated into this community. So I guess the question that may arise, should this be discussed again at next month's meeting, is how would the input from the community on how to best incorporate someone in an SRO into the community, having guardrails in place, as you underlined in your message, that he not be a disciplinary presence on campus, but rather serving other purposes. How can that actually be implemented, operationalized, if the county is not willing to play ball? So I don't know if there's an answer to that question today, but I did want to raise that as a concern of mine. Should the board decide to proceed?
That brings us to executive session. We'll move into executive session. There will be no vote after executive session, so we will go offline for this session of the meeting. And I thank you for those of you that participated this evening. Happy some?
Don't you need a motion to adjourn?
I need a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss the employment history of particular individuals. All those in favor?